Trigger warning. In this episode, we will be discussing topics related to suicide and mental health. This content may be distressing or triggering for some listeners. If you or someone you know is struggling, we encourage you to seek support from a mental health professional or a crisis line in your area. You can call Samaritans for free on the number 116 123. You can text SHOUT to 85258 to reach a trained volunteer. Or for more help, you can visit mind.org.uk or hubofhope.co.uk. Hello, welcome back to The Feminine Perspective.
Hi.
This is episode 2. We thought today that we would touch on a bit of spirituality and dreams. I keep a dream journal.
Do you?
I do, yeah.
Oh, wow. How long have you been doing that for?
A couple of years now, I would say.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Yeah. I think dreams are so interesting.
Very.
And I do believe that dreams are messages. And I know you've had a lot of this is what we've talked about before. You've had a lot of weird dreams yourself.
Yes.
And I think when things happen like that, how can you not believe in it?
100%. And, this isn't for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody believes this. But I guess it's a bit like when you hear people say they've seen a ghost.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult to believe if you've not had that experience.
Yeah, 100%. Have you had those experiences?
I have never seen a ghost, but I have been in the room when somebody has seen a ghost.
Oh.
Asleep. I was asleep. And
right.
I got woken up because the person that I was in, so it was my mum.
Mm-hmm.
The person,
How long ago was this?
This was when I was 14.
Oh, okay.
And we were going through quite a challenging time as a family.
Yeah.
And we were staying in a hotel, me and my mum, and I was asleep in bed. What
hotel was it? Where was it?
Oh, so it was down in Horsham, which is like South Coast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't remember the name of the hotel. Obviously going back like a very long time for me.
Yeah, of course.
14 is a long time ago. But I will never forget the fact that my mum woke me up.
She was that spooked that she woke you up?
She woke me up by calling my name, going, there. And I was like, and I woke up, turned round in bed.
Yeah.
And went, what? And she went, oh, nothing. It doesn't matter.
Didn't want to scare you.
Didn't want to scare me. The next day, she told me that she'd seen, like, basically me, not me, but what she thought was me, walk into the bathroom. And that's why she called my name.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I know.
Was she awake for long, or did she just literally wake up in that moment?
No. So she'd been awake. My mum doesn't sleep very well.
Okay.
So she's always like a bit of a night owl. So she had been awake for like a good hour or so. And she said, I sat there and rubbed my eyes, and I was there like, you were definitely awake. You were definitely seeing this. And, obviously, whatever it was, didn't interact back with her. There was no interaction. It didn't really look at her. It just kind of went into the bathroom, really random.
And she was, like, double-checking.
Have I like,
genuinely
herself.
seen that?
Yeah, did I see this? What about you? Have you ever seen?
I haven't physically, no. My mum has as well.
Oh, really?
So, sort of, yeah. So she grew up in London.
Okay.
So her and her friend, they were downstairs, and my mum's mum was asleep upstairs, and they were like smoking, Yeah. So there's above the door, there's a glass panel, so you can see like sort of through, like up sort of through it. And whilst they were downstairs, they heard somebody get up and start walking down the stairs, and they saw the shadow of someone coming downstairs.
Oh, shit. So
they were like, shit, like quick, put it out, like get everything sorted. And then they were sat, and then nobody came, and they were like, what the hell? So they both went upstairs into my nan's room, her mum, and she was fast asleep.
That's so
and they both saw that, both experienced it, both saw that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I've had a couple of experiences though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are yours? Right.
I haven't I guess so. One of the experiences where I saw something was I was asleep, obviously, and had woken up, And I looked over, and this is when I was a lot younger as well. I feel like these happen when you're younger as well, don't they? My door was open. At this point I used to sleep with the door open. Don't do that now. Not with cats. So I used to sleep with the door open, and in between the crack of the wall and where my door was open, in between that crack was a white mist, pure white mist. And I remember looking at it, and I physically looked at it and was like, no way.
Did you feel anything when
I
you
don't
saw
remember.
the
Scared.
Scared.
Fear.
Like, did you?
Yeah, I just was like, oh my gosh. And I literally said to myself, no way. Like, I could not believe that I was seeing that, you know. I saw that clear as day, 100%. There was no doubt, no shadow of a doubt about that.
It's crazy.
And then I like put my head under the covers and was like, fuck, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I just felt like I needed to get out, you know. I needed to get out of the room. So I literally darted out. Obviously, I need to walk past the thing, and I just literally darted for the room, out, walked straight past it, went into my mum's room, slept in my mum's bed. And then the second time, this was when I was even younger than this. And again, it was me and a friend, and we both saw this. So me and my friend, we were, I don't know how old I was, you know. I must have been below 10. Must have been.
Very young.
Yeah, I was young.
They say, like, that's...
You're more connected, aren't you?
Yeah.
So me and her, we were playing in my room, and something spooked us both. And I remember we darted outside, and you know what my house looks like, in the hallway, there's like so it comes up the stairs, and you sort of come around, and then there's bathroom, bedroom, that salon room. So as you come up the stairs, there's like a half wall, sort of. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What would be a banister, I suppose. It's like a half wall.
Yeah.
And we ran out of my room, sat with our backs facing towards, backs against that wall, facing my room. Gosh. And both of us looked into that room. And when I looked in there, I could see everything, but the colour drained from my eyes, and everything went black and white. And then it came back. And I was like, and I turned to her and I said, oh my gosh, like everything just went black. She went, I saw that as well.
Oh, that's so creepy. Oh my gosh. But I feel like then, and was that a bad feeling as well that you had?
Yeah, something spooked us for sure. That's why we ran out, and like we're like had our backs against the thing, and that's when that happened.
Like that real like negative energy.
Yes, there was definitely I don't know what spooked us, but something definitely spooked us.
It's crazy. So I've never seen a ghost.
No, I don't think I've apart from that white mist, I don't know if you would class that as a ghost, I suppose.
Think so. I
but
guess.
It wasn't like a person stood there.
No.
It wasn't, you know. My mum's had a lot of experiences like that, though.
Has she?
Yeah, a hell of a lot.
She's obviously got like that connection to
definitely,
the
yeah. She has
world.
Weird dreams as well. Me and Mum talk about this, yeah.
That's cool. It's like, I feel like obviously some people are connected and sometimes people aren't. And like you said, I think when you're younger, definitely.
I think we all have the ability to tap into it. It's just whether you're open to it or not.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Like on the topic of like, so when me and my daughter like lived on our own a long time ago, I mean, we just moved into this house, and again, I never saw a ghost. There was weird stuff that happened in that house for a long period of time.
Like what?
So random things. So my daughter would talk to this lady in the mirror.
In the mirror?
In the mirror. So I'd like walk upstairs, and I mean, she was 3 years old. 3 years old she must have been. So she'd be chatting away, and I'd be like, who are you talking to? And she's like, oh, this lady in the mirror. And
how old was she?
like about 3.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, oh, whatever, it's just like a 3-year-old chatting to themselves. Like, they have really,
you don't take note of it. You just think they're imaginative, aren't they?
Really vivid imaginations. And what made me think of this is when you kind of spoke about the experience of, I guess, not seeing something but having these bizarre experiences. So it for me, one of the clearest things I can remember was I was in the kitchen, and the house that I used to live in was like an old terraced house. So I think dating back to like late 1800s, early 1900s. And so everything was just like, you know, like now your modern houses, you kind of have like maybe your rooms are a bit more next to each other.
Yeah.
This house, literally, it's like you walked in, you had the living room, the dining room, and then this long galley kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to smoke back then, so and really bad, I know, but I used to close the kitchen door, open the outside door, and then I'd have a cigarette in the kitchen if it was winter. I know that's bad, but
How old were you when this was?
Oh God, I must have been 20, maybe 20, 19, 20, I would say. So this one time I'm like, you know, I think I'd had a cigarette. I don't think I was smoking at the time, but I was like, I'd prepared lunches for the next day. And I was just kind of, you know, those bits you do before you go to bed, like just finishing up, like cleaning, whatever, that kind of stuff. And then I heard my daughter call my name. Well, it's Mum.
Yeah.
And it was so loud. Like, obviously, she's upstairs in bed.
Yeah.
It was so loud. It was literally like she's the other side of the kitchen door.
Yeah.
So I'm like...
And she's far away in this house?
She's upstairs in bed. But I didn't know this at the time. I genuinely thought she was outside. So she's like, Mum. And I'm like... You know, I'm not obviously going to say her name.
I've heard of these things. Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Like, I'm coming. What do you want? Go back to bed. You shouldn't be up, you know? And then she didn't respond to my response. And I was like...
They're called something.
Are they?
I've heard of this before, where they're called something, where they mimic loved ones' voices.
Really?
Yeah, to get your attention, your energy.
Honestly, I've got goosebumps now. It was like, oh...
They're a thing. I'll look into it afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We'll have to have a look, because I was like, at that time, like, did I hear that in my head? But it was definitely like, you know, someone speaking the other side of the door.
Yeah.
Like my daughter. Yeah. Exactly. And so I'm like, that's weird. She didn't respond.
Yeah.
So I open the door and I'm like, I call her name.
Yeah.
No response.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is weird. Is she playing a trick on me?
Yeah.
Upstairs, went all the way upstairs to her bedroom, and she is flat out. And anyone who's kind of had kids or looked after kids will know, you know if a kid is really asleep. Like, you know 100%.
You think you're so slick when you're a kid, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, I'm on my phone and I'm like...
And you're like, you definitely know, like, you know, she's there, like mouth open, like,
you can't fake
sweaty,
that.
you know, like she's been asleep. And I'm like, oh gosh. So that was the first of like these really random experiences. And then after that, it just kind of got weirder and weirder. So
that was in a different house?
No, same house.
Okay.
Same house.
This one, or no?
Not this house.
Yeah.
No, different house, but all these experiences like happened in the same house. And I mean, I won't kind of go into every single one, but another weird experience was I'd put my laundry on the stairs, like clean laundry, ready to go upstairs at one night again. My daughter's asleep in bed, and I can see again in the kitchen. I'm there in the kitchen, and all of a sudden the light changes in the dining room, and I can see the door to the dining room from the kitchen was like panelled doors.
Yes,
but all the way to the bottom, and it just kind of caught my attention because I was like, whoa, like that light's shifted. And I opened the door and basically the light was swinging, like it was obviously not like it was a fixture, but you know the ones you just hang like a lampshade from.
Yeah.
So it's swinging away, and my bag of laundry that was on the stairs is now like over the other side near the kitchen. So it literally like,
oh shit, like far,
yeah.
Oh,
so I'm
no.
like, oh no, like a kid cannot throw it that far, like. But I never felt scared.
That was going to be my next question. Like, how did you feel living in that house?
Never felt scared. I think because there was no like creepy music playing. Do you know, like in a horror film, you hear like duh, duh, duh. There was none of this. It was just like this random stuff happening, but no creepy music, no like. And I never felt really frightened of it.
See, I do think that's important to know how you feel in the moment.
100%.
If you feel anxious or like bad, then I think,
bad spirit.
Yeah.
I never felt bad. The very last most scary thing that didn't scare me, but it like sent shivers up my spine.
Yeah.
And I kind of lost my shit then at that point. So I was there was this cupboard again in the fucking kitchen. It's always the kitchen at this house.
This is like the dodgy area.
The dodgy area. Don't be mindful of your kitchen. It was above the cooker. We had like a gas cooker, a gas hob, and usually you'd have a fan there. For some reason, I don't think there was a fan there. There was definitely a cupboard above it. So it was a little cupboard, and there was like this brown tube in this cupboard that I always had assumed was a part of the cupboard.
Okay.
So I'd never moved it. I thought, well, maybe it's covering like a pipe or something.
Yeah.
And this one time I was like, oh, do you know what? I need to dust inside this cupboard. Dusted inside this cupboard, or was cleaning inside it, and then realised like the brown tube moved, and I was like, oh, this isn't covering a pipe at all. Took it out.
Yeah.
Opened it up. It was like a long cylinder. Opened it up, and I was like, this is really weird. Like, and in there was this like poster, it was like a rolled up picture of a woman.
Yeah.
An old woman. I'm not joking. Honestly, I've got goosebumps now. My daughter stood next to me, right? So I'm like, open this thing up, and I'm like, whoa, like, she was just, I mean, this like nice old lady just sat there, and I'm like, who on earth is this? And my daughter's like, that's the lady in the mirror. Honestly, I was like, what? Again, I was like, that's it.
Ew, I feel sweaty.
Honestly,
I
I feel
that.
like goosebumps right now speaking about this. Like, I actually do. And
oh my gosh,
I just lost my shit. I was like, do you know what? Get the fuck out of my house. You're really pissing me off now. Like, probably just literally, I went on a little angry rant. My kid's probably there thinking, what is going on?
Yeah.
And then nothing after that. Nothing at all.
Okay, so you obviously expelled that.
Yeah, I think the old lady obviously wasn't a dangerous old lady.
Yeah,
she's probably just having
just
a little
fucking
bit
with
of fun.
you.
Yeah. She's probably like, ooh, what can we do? And then I think she just
I think they do. My friend Thomas, he always used to say, he literally always used to say to me, spirits fuck with you, you know. And I was like, I know. I know. He's like, they, move things about, whatever. I had one experience after he passed away. And it did make me, I thought of him instantly, because I don't know how this could have happened. So this was literally about a month, or I would say a month after he passed away. So it was very fresh still.
Yeah.
And I woke up, and my bed is on one wall, and then the wall opposite my TV is on there. And it's a fucking massive TV. It's a bit obnoxious, to be honest. And it's on one of those like mounts where you can pull it out and sort of swing it one way or the other, right? That's hard to do.
Yeah.
Mind. I also have a lock on my bedroom door.
Yeah.
So none of my windows are open. My bedroom door is locked. I am the only person in this room, and I don't have a history of sleepwalking.
No.
So anyway, I've woken up, and obviously first thing in front of me is my TV. My TV is all the way off the wall on one side. And I looked at it and I was like, what the hell? Like, I'm sure I've got a video on my phone of me where I instantly was like, and recorded my raw reaction where I was like, what the hell? And I just instantly, I thought, Thomas,
yeah,
you fucker.
I didn't have a bad feeling.
No, I thought it was hilarious. I was like, please, like, do that more. I love that sort of stuff, especially 'cause I just thought about him instantly, and I thought back to that conversation that we had when he used to say to me, spirits fuck with you. And when I said that, I was like, he said to me, he was like, if I die, he said, I'd fuck with you. And I didn't know that later on that was going to become reality. But we used to talk, he was very spiritual. We used to have a lot of these conversations. And yeah, he said to me, he was like, if I die, I'll fuck with you. And I said, please do.
Yeah.
I said, I would find that hilarious.
And you knew straight away that it was him. And is that the one time that he's done it? Or has he ever done it since?
No, that's the only time.
Is it?
Yeah. There was only one other time where I do my own nails. And I always, this again was within that first year. This was maybe, he passed away in January. This was about April time, I think. Maybe early April. I was doing my nails and I always have my earphones in. Again, like it's just one room, like where my table used to be, I was facing the door. And I was doing my nails and I felt this cold air, like someone go on the back of my neck to where it made me go. And like I looked behind me and I felt, and I was like, what the hell? Like I felt that straight away.
Yeah.
And that I was like,
Did you feel scared in that moment?
I was just a bit like, what the hell? You know? Like I felt that, like it made me jump and turn instantly. And I felt the back of my neck. I was like, what the fuck, you know? And then I thought, but it wasn't like something landed on me. It was like air.
Yeah.
It was like cold air right on the back of my neck. And there's nothing behind me. There's the window wasn't open. The curtains were closed. The blinds were down. I put my hand across it like to feel any draft. Nothing. But it was like forceful air. It wasn't just a light breeze. It was like on one particular spot of my neck.
Yeah.
Cold, sharp air.
Someone
blew that shit on the back of my neck. 100%.
Do you feel like that was him?
I don't know. I think the TV one for sure.
Yeah.
That one I assumed so, but I don't know if that's just because obviously I am kind of, because I was grieving so much, I would feel like I was looking for those signs a lot. But he is one of the, as we were talking about dreams, he was one of the weird like dreams that I had. When he passed away, I didn't deal with it very well. I did deal with it well, but I also didn't in a way. It's hard. Like I do think I did deal with it well.
In what way do you feel like you didn't deal with it well?
Just because I genuinely have never ever in my life felt pain like that. That was like, I don't want to get emotional. No. But like I would not wish that on anybody. Like that was a core trauma event that has made me into who I am. I learned so many lessons through that. I understand that I had to go through that. I understand the things that I took away from it. I've never been angry because I understand. Like I love him so much and I wish he was here. I really do. He was like such a massive part of my life, you know?
Yeah.
Lol. Yeah, and he was a massive part of my connection to spirituality, which is why I think when he passed, I sort of lost sight of it for a little bit for that first year.
Like rejecting it, basically.
Yeah, I think because when he passed, I was like, so before he passed, because we used to talk about spirituality a lot, he taught me everything I knew. He was the only friend that I ever had that I felt like I would leave and I'd learn something new every time I was with him. Whereas I often feel like I'm the teacher for a lot of my friendships, you know? Especially within my job as well. I'm always preaching to girls about how they should be treated and all that shit and giving advice. But yeah, he was the only friend I had that taught me stuff. And because he was the person that connected me so deeply to spirituality, we had a conversation before he died, and obviously neither of us obviously knew that this was actually going to be the reality. But he said we had an agreement that whoever dies first promised to come to the other person and tell them what is on the other side, if it is real.
Wow.
Yeah. And so when he did pass, I was like, oh, he's defo gonna come to me, you know, and I'm waiting.
Yeah.
And then obviously straight off the bat, the TV thing happened. I'm like, ooh, yes, you know, that's why I took that as a little, it was him, you know? And I guess I was just searching for that comfort, perhaps.
Well, I mean, also it takes a lot of strength, like you said, to move a TV. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why I think I did deal with it well, though, is because I never was angry about it. I understood. Because he was such a genuine, one of the most authentic people I've ever met. who was just, he was such a deep emotional person, didn't understand the evil in the world and why, and I think he was just too good and suffered so much because of that, you know, and I get it. I understand it, and I've never ever been angry at him for doing that. But yeah, so obviously I was waiting, and you know, time is passing and it never came, you know. And yeah, so one of my lovely friends, bless her, I always said I wanted to see a medium, but I always said that I would never go out of my way to find it. I would like it to come to me, sort of thing. And one of my friends said to me that she really wants to see a medium, and I was like, me too.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought that would be the end of it. And then next time I saw her, she mentioned it again, and then she sort of got the ball rolling, you know. And then my birthday was coming up, so my birthday's in October, and he passed on New Year, but he was found on the 3rd of January. So my birthday was coming up, and she was like, okay, I really, like, we are definitely doing this. She was like, I will get this for your birthday as like a gift. I was like, thank you. And then I was like, when do you want to do it? And then because my birthday is close to his passing, she was like, I think we should do it on the year anniversary, because the energy should be high, and hopefully it would have given me enough time to, like, you know. And because I got nothing for that first year, I got one feather. That is now, I've had that 3 times now, so I know that that's the thing, but obviously back then I didn't.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get anything, you know. He didn't come to me in a dream. There wasn't really any signs that were consistent, you know. I had nothing. So I really did feel like I came back, and this was my last sort of hope to bring me back into spirituality.
Yeah.
So she booked it, and she booked for us to have a spa day afterwards, which I thought was really thoughtful. She knows what I'm like. I'm a very deep thinker, and I like to process my things. So we had this in the morning. The night before, I wrote him a letter, and it was very emotional, as you can imagine. I just had a lot of questions. So yeah, this medium was kind of like my final grasp at this. And the next day, so yeah, on his death anniversary, we go there. She booked it under her name, so my name was never present. There was no way she could have ever known anything about this. She starts off by like asking me to shuffle cards and then give them to her, and then instantly she was like, she's first of all was like, you know, just got into the bit of the basics, you know, that introduction, and then she was like, oh, there's a lady here like in spirit with you. And I was like, oh yeah, my great nan, which is my mum's nan, she was very spiritual as well. So I thought that was nice. And then, but I was like, oh, it's not who I want to hear from, you know.
Yeah.
And then she was like, she's just popping in to say hello and just to let you know that she looks out for you. And then she was like, but that wasn't the person you were hoping to hear from today, was it? And I was like, no. And I like held it together by that point. And then she was like, I've got a young man here waiting to speak to you.
Oh,
and I
my
literally,
God.
I literally just
Emily.
absolutely broke down, because it was so like, that was my final, sorry.
Okay.
That was like my first, I was like, thank God, you know. And she said to me, she was like, yeah, I've got a young gentleman here waiting to speak to you. And then she stopped for a minute. She was like, oh, I feel really cold. She said, when did he pass? And I was like, a year ago today. She was like, yeah, I thought, she said, was it recent? And I was like, yeah, it was a year ago today. And she was like, she said, I feel cold. And then she was like, why do I feel like I can't breathe with him? And I just, you know, so for that instant introduction, you know, I was like, fuck, you know. But that's how I knew. And I was just so, even though it was so emotional, I was like, thank God, like that, because how the hell would she know that? There's no way she would know that. she told me so much. It wasn't just, she told me parts about my upbringing, my family.
Really?
Yeah, she really hit the nail on the head with like my parents' relationships, my relationships with my parents, which is obviously unique to me, you know. Whereas my friend, she has a good relationship with her parents, you know, they're together. Me on the other hand, and she then with her reading was like, yep, you're all good. So it was like, how would you know? It's not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And she didn't know you were coming.
She did not know that I was
the key
coming.
bit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't even think she asked for my name, you know.
Did he have any advice for you? Did he say anything to you?
No, it wasn't that. It was more, she just kept saying he's so sorry and that he was regretful. And I feel that as well. I feel that he regrets it. I feel, without even speaking to her. But then a lot of the questions I had in my letter, she answered. And like towards the end, she then said to me, because one of my things was obviously he hasn't come to me in a dream. And she was like, has he come to you in a dream yet? And I was like, no. And she was like, he will. She was like, he will. It's just, you know. And I was like, good.
I've been waiting
for this, yeah. And then literally after that whole thing, about a week or two later, he did, yeah. And I know that this is why as well, I truly believe that when he has come into my dreams, that was him, because he was my every waking thought. Even like before, when I went to bed, when I was awake, like during this whole grieving process. And like he was one of my best friends, so this was like deep for me. This is the hardest loss I've ever experienced in my life, and like truly losing a best friend doesn't cut deeper than that, because they're your family that you choose. And I think when you're not close to your family, it's, you know, yeah
they're your, like you said,
they are your family that you choose, aren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, so the first dream that I had, sorry, I didn't think I'd get so emotional. The first dream that I ever had was, so me and him met at a hotel. We used to work in a hotel. And this is how I knew we were destined to be friends as well, because so many things were pointing me towards working at this place.
Yes.
I got the job when I was 17, so I was young. And I never ever thought I would ever do food and beverage, like, or hospitality. I am a completely different person now to when I was younger. I had zero confidence. Like, younger me wouldn't even recognize the person I am today. And I was like, so I used to work in a clothing shop. Awful, by the way. The worst job I've ever had in my life. I hated it. It was so boring.
Was it?
Yeah, it was so fucking mind-numbingly boring. Anyway, so that was my first job, and this girl who I knew who worked at this hotel, she used to say to me, you need to work at this place. And I was like, no, like, oh, no way. And I applied to different, because I hated my job so much. I applied to different jobs, and I just wasn't getting anything. Nothing. I had interviews, nothing. So I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just see. And of course, and he interviewed me, and he gave me literally a job. He gave me the job on the spot. So I was like, well, okay, I guess I'm working here now. And what was I gonna say?
It's like completely destined.
Oh yes, that was it. So that's a bit of the background of how we met. That was what I was talking about, the dream. Sorry, I go on a tangent and forget what I'm talking about.
No, go ahead. Absolutely.
So that's how we met. So my first ever dream, he come to me. Well, so we were working together at this hotel, and there was this big group table, and this hotel was not fancy. So it didn't make any sense, this dream, to be like this. So yeah, there was this big group of table, and I had a tray of garlic bread, loads of garlic bread on this tray. I take it to them, and the group were like, no, they complained, were like, no, this is wrong, there's not enough. And I was like, okay, sorry, like, I'll go sort it. So I took the tray into the kitchen, and Tomash is in the kitchen, and he is by the garlic bread stuff. Also, they would never make it. They'd literally chuck it in the microwave. That's how they would make things. But they had this fresh bread and we had garlic butter and we were buttering them together.
Wow, this hotel got really fancy.
Real fancy. It was not like that. But it was the same layout, so it didn't make any sense. Anyway, so me and him are then, I laughed and was like, oh, they fucking complained as always, you know, and he was like, that's fine. And then we were doing it. Mm-hmm. We were spreading garlic butter onto these breads, right? Adding more of them. And there was a pot of balsamic vinegar in the center. Also, I would never think to have this, mm-hmm. right? And he was saying to me, you need to try garlic bread dipped in balsamic vinegar. It is the best. And I was going, yeah, all right then. Okay. Like, not, you know, I was just laughing at him. And he was like, honestly, like, you need to try it, mm-hmm. blah, blah, blah. And then he just, you know, when things almost go quiet and it's just, and that was the only thing I said. I just was like, oh yeah, haha, okay. And then he's just talking. And I remember it was like I pause and sort of come back for a second, mm-hmm. you know, and he's talking to me and I can't hear him, but I can just see him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like everything just went quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him and he's just talking and it was just all of his quirks, like how he used to be. Sorry.
Fine.
Yeah, just all of the quirks that he used to have. And I remember looking at him and I just was looking at him and was like, wow. Like, I love you so much. Aww. And I knew in that moment that he was dead. Like, I knew that this was not reality.
It was a dream.
I knew it was a dream, and I knew that he was actually dead. And I was just taking it in. Like, I remember just looking at him and being like, wow. And just taking in, all of those things that I loved so much about him and what made him so unique, you know? And yeah, like, and then after that I woke up and obviously I get emotional about it. It's funny grief, isn't it? Like, even now it
just comes out.
It comes out of nowhere, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had been okay for a while. And that whole day wrote me off. It was like I had experienced it all over again. But it was so nice because it was like the first time I truly felt like I was with him, you know, and I have wanted nothing more and have longed for that for so long, you know, just to be able to have that experience again and speak to him one last time, you know.
When was that dream? When was that?
So that would have been just over a year ago. Right. It would have been like last February, I think I had that dream. Yeah. But I had so many weird dreams during that time. I had another one of like my ex-boyfriend, and do you remember me telling you about that?
No, I don't think I do remember you telling me about that. Maybe I will when you tell me, like, I'll remember it. But
so I'll try and keep this story really short.
No, go for it.
So I had an ex-boyfriend. This was one of the lessons I learned with Tomash, is he when we were together, you know.
I know.
This was 2022. I dated this guy. Obviously Tomash died on that new year of that year. So me and him broke up in September, was really toxic, and it didn't end very well. And then we'd not spoken. We had not spoken for 2 years. It had been by this point. And obviously one of the reasons why we broke up is he didn't like my friendship with Tomash, and he gave me an ultimatum, and ultimately I chose Tomash, thank God, because he killed himself 3 months later. So I learned that lesson, is that nobody should ever make you choose between, you know what I mean. Anyway, so me and him, we always had such a deep connection. I've never had a connection with someone I've dated like this before. I believe he's my twin flame, but so we ended on really bad terms. Didn't speak for 2 years. Obviously then Tomash passed away and I was dealing with that, so I just wasn't really, you know, thinking about him. And then after that dream, shortly after, this was during Pisces season as well, and I'm Pisces moon, so I have a feeling this was why all of this stuff was happening. I had a dream about and oh shit.
You're fine. We'll blur it out.
I had a dream about him, and I have never dreamt about him before. And the dream wasn't a good one. And like I say, I think it's important to know how you feel when you wake up.
Yeah.
And I felt like something was really wrong. I did feel like, I just felt off. Now, I've had these feelings before where, when you break up with someone and you have the feeling, maybe a bit of weakness for a certain period where you're like, oh, I want to message them. But I never act on that.
No.
Because normally by the end of the day, it's gone. Unless something's really like pushing their name towards me, I won't act on it. And so my ego was too large at the time, so I did not message him, and I thought that feeling would go away. And for 5 days solid, that feeling did not go away.
I remember this now.
Yeah. So for 5 days solid, that feeling did not go away, and I confided in one of my friends, and she was like, just message him, because she was like, you won't forgive yourself. And I also believe that if I wasn't meant to speak to him, then something would have got in the way of that. Maybe he'd changed his phone number, something like that. So I had messaged him, and I just said, hey, like, I know this is so random, but I had a dream about you. It wasn't a good one. Are you okay? And he was like, oh my gosh, like, obviously we'd left it on bad terms, hadn't spoke for 2 years. And instantly, before we'd even gotten into the dream, he apologised to me straight away for how we left things. So it was obviously bubbling for him. And he was like, yeah, I'm not really in a good place right now, And then I was like, oh, why? And he just said, oh, I'm not seeing much point in anything. So I was like, oh, gosh. Now, I didn't tell him about Thomas straight away because I don't know. I just wasn't ready for that.
No.
And so we were just catching up, and we ended up having like a really long phone call, like hours long phone call conversation, and it was like no time had passed. And then I had suggested like meeting up and catching up, nothing within that, but just to catch up, I suppose. And I had kind of wanted to tell him about Thomas in person, rather than, I felt like that wasn't really
it's far too painful, far too
yes,
you can't do that over the phone.
No, exactly. We had agreed to meet up, got to a couple of days before, he blew me off and was like, oh, I've got a job interview, I can't do that day, can you do this day? I was like, yeah, that's fine. We rearranged again, got to the day, same thing happened again. Can we rearrange? Then we rearranged to a weekend. Neither of us had spoken about what we were doing that weekend. And he, again, like, date people far as well. He lives an hour away from me. And he lives even further away from Nottingham. And neither of us had spoken about what we were doing. You can see where this is going. So it was coming up to the weekend, and then he just ghosted me. And I thought, okay, that's fine. I thought, you clearly don't want to see me. That's fine. I'm not going to beg or press. So I just left it. Anyway, me and my friend, we go out that weekend and we go out in Nottingham. Neither of us had told each other what we were doing. Nottingham is also a massive place.
Yeah.
And you could literally be anywhere. So I went into BR1, big up. And I had literally been, it was about 1:30, I would say.
Yeah.
And I had been in there for 5 minutes, if that, to be honest. Just walked in there. My friend and I were just speaking, and I just like turned around to go and move to a different area, and as I turned around, he'd walked out of the bathroom. As I turned, he walked smack bang straight into me.
There's no avoiding
no,
her.
Exactly.
You can't ghost this girl.
Yeah. The universe was like, you will meet up.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, and it was, oh my gosh, if you saw our faces, was like a picture.
Yeah,
like,
I
mouth
bet.
wide open, what the hell. I won't go into like what happened after that, but it was crazy that we saw each other. He was quite emotional, and then because at first I thought, oh, he's just obviously doesn't want to see me, but then because he obviously didn't deal well with the shock factor of seeing me and got quite emotional, I then was like, okay, it's not me, like he is just, it's overwhelming. And then, but that made me feel better, you know. And but how strange.
So bizarre.
Yeah, that was over a year ago now that happened. That was like last February time, January. It was like February, March time, I think, last year.
And it's really key, I think, that actually you knew in that moment that you had to speak to him. I feel like
it's weird though that it resurfaced. You know, I think that I was always going to bump into him.
Yeah.
But because we left it on such bad terms, we needed to sort of smooth it out a little bit. Because I think if I'd have bumped into him and we hadn't have had that conversation, that would have gone very different.
Completely different. Imagine just being like, oh, hi, face to face, you know, with your ex randomly after,
especially after everything that went on.
Absolutely.
That would have been too intense.
Far too intense.
But weird how I had never dreamt of him before, had the dream, and then I bump into him after 2 years. Yeah. I'd never seen the guy, never had a dream about him, nothing.
And I think some of these experiences are so inexplicable.
Exactly. Like that shit doesn't happen in real life. It doesn't. That happens in the movies. That doesn't happen.
It really, really, like, it's unbelievable, some of the stuff that you can't. And again, it's one of those experiences, like we were saying in the beginning, that unless it's happened to you, you don't know. You're not going to believe it. Like, you know, someone sits there and says, oh, this happened, and like, it's not that you don't believe your friends or your family or you know, whoever's, it's just you can't imagine what that feels like. It must be like, oh, there's got to be another explanation for it, but unless you've had that experience yourself, like
but there is no explanation for that.
There's no explanation. It's like, or either it's like really, really like random coincidence, but I mean, how do you it's just too it's too meaningful, I suppose.
100%. But you've had some weird dreams, haven't you?
One of my, I mean, and I'm not going to get into like, you know, too much depth about my stepdad, but so he, I mean, obviously my grandparents have passed away, but my stepdad was like a second dad to me, really. And you know, he's been passed for, it's actually 10 years this year.
Is it?
It's a long time now. But he died from cancer. And in the run up to this, like, I'd had this random dream. It was random. It wasn't even connected to this. Like, my mum had sent me a text message. This was the dream. She sent me a text message at 1:30 to say, the train has arrived and I'm the most heartbroken mum there is, right? Yeah. And I was like, that's a weird dream. Remembered it because it just stood out to me. Like, I remember looking at the time of this text message. Like, and it was really...
What time was it?
1:30. It was so relevant. Like, the time... Like, it was... I don't... You know, was it 1:30 exactly? No, but the time was like, you know, 13:30... Was it 31, 32? Who knows? But that was the time. And I was like, oh, that's so bizarre. Afterwards, I wouldn't let my daughter travel in a car at that time. The time was just like really vivid, and I was like, she can't travel at that time, she just can't. Didn't think it was going to be connected to my stepdad at all, even though it was my mum that messaged me, but I just didn't make the connection. Anyway, my stepdad, you know, like Thomas, incredibly spiritual person. Like, I mean, he was so spiritual and so connected to his dreams that he, you know, when he was diagnosed with cancer, he sat us all down in the living room and was like, this is the date I'm gonna die. He basically told us the date. But he got it wrong by one day. Literally one day. He said that he was going to die on the 14th of June. And he died on the 15th of June. But on the day that he died, he said, he asked what day it was, and I said, it's a Sunday. And he was like, I don't want to die on a Sunday. And then he died the next day on Monday. So I think that was a decision that he made. Like, I'm not dying on a Sunday.
Day of rest.
Exactly. I'm not doing that. But so in the run up to his death, he had this dream. I have this tattooed on.
Do you?
On my hip, actually. That what he kind of. I have one of his dreams tattooed on my hip, But this dream, he basically turns around to, I wasn't here at the time, I don't know where I was, but my family are kind of in the living room with him, like it's kind of the last few days.
Yeah.
I think I was probably at work or something. We were all staying here in the house.
Yeah.
And he, you know, he's in and out of consciousness, and he says to my family, Verity's going to tell me what time the train comes. Well, I'd totally forgotten about this dream.
Yeah.
Right. So my mum says to me, you know, you're going to tell him what time the train comes. And I was like, what the hell is he on about? I have no idea what he's talking about. Anyway, then I'm like, oh my God, the train.
How soon was it after you...
seriously, it's giving me so many shivers now.
How soon after? So when you had the conversation with your mum, when did you then was like, oh my gosh, the train?
Like, I would say that same day, maybe later on.
Yeah.
Like,
so it was like hours. Then you were like, oh, the penny dropped.
Yeah. The pennies kind of dropped, and I'm like, no, this is, that's what it is. Anyway, so I kind of come out into the living room and speak to my stepbrother and my stepsister who were there, and my brother, and I'm like, the train's going to come at 1:30. Yeah.
What time is it at that point?
I have no idea at that point what time it was, but I was like, the train's coming at 1:30. If that's the dream that he's had, that's the time the train's coming. Anyway, that I know.
It's so weird. Like,
I know,
what the hell?
and I mean, like, you know, I mean, obviously, I love him so much, and you know, we sat. I still didn't believe it. Weirdly, I didn't really believe that was actually going to be the time the train came.
Yeah.
But I was like, that is the time. Sat down next to him on the day that he died, and his breathing changed. And I was like to my stepsister, what time is it?
Yeah.
And she looked at her watch and she's like, it's 1:30. I was like, you need to get
my gosh,
everybody in here
like,
now.
Yeah.
And everyone came in. And then that was it.
Wow.
Then he passed. And it was the most unbelievable I've never had another dream like that ever again. And never, like, how it was the most unreal experience. And but yeah, an incredibly spiritual man. He was a beautiful person. Yeah. I have a question for you.
Okay, hit me.
Did you try garlic bread with the
No,
balsamic vinegar? You haven't tried it.
Actually, yes, I have.
Did you?
And it's good. It's
There you
good.
go.
He was right.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I have.
I was going to say, because if not, we need
Not
to try
straight
it.
away, but it was like, I did eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got good advice.
He does. Yeah, it was nice.
Maybe he should be.
That's what made me think, though, is like, I, as me in this form, would never think to try garlic bread on balsamic vinegar.
But that just happened.
Yeah.
Definitely some seriously. There's definitely a connection to
100%.
something outside
100%.
of it, whether it's our subconscious, whatever it is, it's 100% there.
If anyone is watching and has their own stories,
yes,
please send them to us, because I would love to read them and read them out.
Absolutely. I would love that. I think it would be really...
Yeah, because I think everybody's had dreams or weird things like this.
Absolutely. Yes. Please send us
send them,
stories. Have we got somewhere they can send them to? Our Instagram, I suppose.
Yeah, Instagram, or I'll put up an email.
Yes.
I'll put up an email address on the screen, or I'll dub it in.
So we'll dub in it. Just here. Or there. I think that was a beautiful episode. Yes.
Totally. Yeah.
Very meaningful.
I'm looking forward to seeing everyone else's stories. If they have any.
So excited. And thank you for joining us again for episode 2.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Yes.
Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.